Guys, it is literally pouring. It's doing Florida afternoon kind of rain showers, but I got a tackle shop walkthrough. We are right next to Headwaters Lake. I was just actually out filming with JT.
And welcome to Headwaters.
We are going to do a tackle shop walkthrough of Fellsmere Outdoor Adventures. They got a bunch of stuff in there. It's right next to basically Stick Marsh, Headwaters, Miami Garcia, some of the best lakes in Florida, some like smaller grass lakes, which are a blast to fish. But we're gonna hang out with Pat and have him kind of walk us through the store. So let's go. All right, guys, so I walked in and I met Pat right off the bat, and Pat's gonna walk me through the store and that. But first, I want to show you. Look who I found. What's up, JT? You want to go fishing, bro? Yeah, they got an awesome
video. A little bit. So somebody cleaned them up.
So this is Pat. He owns the store. If they ever need anything, where can they find you? Are you guys on Facebook and that?
We are on Facebook.
Okay, so where would they find you on Facebook, or what's the phone number in there?
We're you know what? I'm not a Facebook guy, Mikey. I have to talk to Jackie about that. Jackie,
where can they find? Whoa, is that a beer tap? Do you guys have beer? Dude,
hey, we almost have the license. It'll be probably in a couple weeks. We'll have the license, and we'll have beer.
So, dude, I'm like, holy shit. Like, what? You guys got it going on. No wonder there's always cars in the parking lot. And so Jackie's going to tell us. So Jackie, you guys are on social media, and from what I understand, you guys do like a little like podcast or a live streaming show too. Where can they find it if they want to?
You can find us on YouTube at Hooked on Headwaters, and every week we do an update for the lakes to let you know where the fish are being caught at, what they're being caught on, and we point out on our maps that we have over here. It's really informative, and it lets everybody know, where to fish, how to fish, what to fish with, and it's...
Yeah, you guys are super local. Yeah. You're literally, I think it took me 8 minutes once I got off the dirt road to get down here from Headwaters or Stick Marsh. Like, they're right next door. They have everybody coming in, so they're going to get kind of like, fingers on the pulse and feel what's going on, and people are going to slip up and tell them little secrets and that. But Pat, I want you to walk me through the store. I kind of took a little walk around, and it looks pretty cool. But yeah, you got kind of a concept. You said you were focusing on like Florida companies and stuff, but take me through. Show me some stuff, man.
Yeah, man. We're even like with the shirts. So this is like a local girl, a local lady. I think her husband's retired, and so she makes shirts. I mean, how cool is that?
Does she catch bass as big as her bass?
I think she might. Yeah, it's a good possibility. All depends on what bait she's using, right? And so this is another local guy. I mean, he's out of Vero.
Okay.
I mean, look at these worms, Mikey.
Those are big, dude.
And they're catching fish on them, guy. Look at these jokers.
Yeah,
Mungo
like the
worms.
big old snake, dude.
So Kenny's throwing these deep.
Really?
East Carolina rigging them.
I know the deep grass bite is pretty good on Headwaters, yeah.
So he's got all these different colors. He's got his own molds. He makes them. He brings them in. He packages them. Nothing fancy. And they're for. Oh my glass! Now I can't see the price, but they're. We try to keep the pricing real cheap.
Yeah, you want people to stop on
real
it.
Affordable.
So one thing I always like to look at, Pat, show me that gambler section real quick.
So,
yeah. Take me to the juice.
What we're most proud of is our gambler, and I'll tell you why, Mikey, is because the original owner of Gambler was a very good friend of mine.
Really?
Well, and my dad, really
Russ?
close. Russ Bringer was.
Really?
I've been fishing with him since I was a little kid.
Really?
Him and my dad fished together. He's from Pompano Beach. I'm born and raised in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, really? You're Fort Lauderdale people?
Born and raised in Fort Lauderdale.
Crazy.
And so we spent our life fishing Lake Okeechobee.
Yeah.
Since I was a little kid. So Russ Bringer was a big part of my life. I learned a lot from him, and Mike Sermon as well. We fished against Mike Sermon.
Yep.
It was me and my dad. We fished the tournaments. We had to worry about Russ Bringer and Mike Sermon and Mike Horner. Sermon and Horner. They were a team.
A team back in the day.
We're talking, I don't know, late 70s, early 80s.
Really?
Yeah. Mike Sermon
You're dating
and Mike
yourself,
Horner.
dude.
And so, but that's when I was introduced to Gambler. So very important to me, Gambler, and they're a Florida-based company.
You guys got a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, we love it. I mean, we've got plenty of extra just in case we run out. Bass Assassin,
another local company,
product. Yeah. Florida-based again. Charlie's Worms. I mean, you know something about that, Mike. We grew up with Charlie's Worms.
That's old school, man.
Old Charlie Infinger in Clewiston. God rest his soul. And so, but another Florida-based company. And so, But our gambler is, we're really proud of our gamblers.
Let me ask you a question, Pat. One thing I'm kind of curious about, when it comes to plastics, what would you say is kind of like the number one selling plastic style that you get? Because most of these guys are fishing stick marsh, headwaters, and that. Is it like a swimming worm? Is it a creature bait? What would you say?
It's funny you should say. That's a hard answer, or that's a hard question to answer, because the easies, whether it's a big easy, a easy swimmer, or easy vibe, they're all great sellers. They all catch fish in these areas. Another one is the speed worm. I mean, the burner worms that a gambler has.
But it's swimming style worm, like style, something again, you can work through the grass.
But still, and then you have your Senkos. I mean,
stick baits are big.
The fat ace.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know that there is a number one, to be honest with you.
But it's really, I guess your Florida classics all work out there for the most part, and then you kind of play around with them. What colors then? How about that?
Well, the black blue obviously is probably one of the number one, and depending on the lake. So we were talking about it earlier with some of the guys. We have a tournament coming up at Blue Cypress, and so that cracked copper is anything with orange or a crawdad color bait is really big on that lake. So June bug is big at Headwaters. Black blue or something with or a June bug is good on Stick Marsh. So it's it all depends on the color of the water. You know what I mean? So, but I would say that the cracked copper is big, the June bug and the black blue would be the top three.
It's funny you say that, because I was actually out filming with JT a little bit earlier, and we ran into some spawning brim. And it's amazing to me how clear the water is on, say, Headwaters, for instance, or Stick Marsh, how clear the water is, but how dark the brim are. Like, the brim are like, I wouldn't call them, they're blackish, but they're kind of like blackish purple, which matches right up with that June bug, that black blue. They're super dark. It's crazy.
Right. And that is weird.
You didn't see him in there? Go around him.
But
I'm telling Pat I something I shouldn't tell. If you go around, like, actually, I'll even tell you guys, like some of the reed heads that are scattered out there, you can actually just troll around them. And most of it that we saw was where the hydrilla was kind of near, so it would strain out the water. But you just see these brim up on the beds, up on like the little sandy bars in the open areas in the hydrilla next to these heads. And they were dark, dude. Like, you could almost see them contrasted against like the lighter reed stalks down on the bottom, and there they were swimming. So it makes sense why those colors work. And actually, some of the brim I've actually caught way back in the day out on Lake Kissimmee and the Kissimmee chain, they're kind of like that dark blackish purple. So plastics are a really big player in Florida. I'd say they're like 90% of the player. But hard baits come into play too. And you said you got like a local guy. I like showing local stuff. So you got a local guy doing some jigs and crank baits and that. Let's take a look, man.
And I was gonna mention this, the flipping baits. So you know how that's like number one down there.
Let's
as well.
keep that hush hush. We're not talking about flipping baits. Mikey still gets to flip some fish, so we're gonna stay away from that.
Well, here's an interesting bit of baits. And so this is a gentleman. He's a local guy. Let me pick out a color that's probably like a deadly weapon. You know. So he makes these lures. He airbrushes this paint on it, and it's he was explaining it to me. It was a little over my head. So, but we sent when he came in, we met him, and he didn't really know, how he was going to go about getting these lures out. So he came in, and there was a few of the local guys that come in all the time. Jim Fallon is one of them, and he's a very well-known guy around here. Jim Fallon and my buddy Dan, and so. He handed him a bunch of them. Dan and Jim went out with these baits. Both of them came back and was really impressed with some of the jerk baits they took, some of the crank baits, the square bills, and there was a couple of topwater plugs that they went out with. And look at these. They're like a chug bug type of thing.
Yeah, but it's a lot more fishable than a chug bug,
and look
at
the paint on them. I mean, it's super cool.
And they got decent hooks compared to a chug bug.
And they've got good hook. Yeah, exactly.
I will tell you something, guys. It's funny, in Florida, plastics, yes, it's number one. But I think a bite that really gets overlooked, especially on places like Headwaters and Stick Marsh, is that hard bait bite. Like, you can take a jerk bait like this and go in some of those deep ponds and that on Headwaters, and literally fish it almost like you're up north. You know, it's 10, 12 foot. You get that grass line that kind of tapers down. You can twitch along it. You can do the same thing with a square bill. And stick marsh is the real sneaky one. There's all kinds of stumps and like hard spots out there. Actually, tune into to JT's YouTube channel. You might learn about that a little bit. There's all kinds of places where you can bump these hard baits. It's not all grass, and some of the grass is deep enough where you can actually fish it over it. So there's a lot of opportunities to fish those hard baits around here, and I don't think people really notice it.
You hit the nail on the head. That's the thing about Headwaters is it's not just a shallow lake. You know, you go into Kenansville. I mean, it's a very shallow lake and it's very weedy. But with Headwaters, we got a wide variety. I mean, deep pits. We've got ledges. We got shallow water.
I think the coolest part is half of it's undiscovered thus far too. Like there's a lot of water out there that it's probably been fished, but there's all these ditches and stuff and these crazy structures because is there a map of Headwaters?
There is.
Shut up. Oh, we got to see that. All right, let's go look at this map of Headwaters. So this is pretty cool because there is very little like definite information on Headwaters, and one of the things that's really the most important when you're out fishing is a map, and you guys have a map. That is crazy, dude.
Yeah, so you know if they come into the shop, Mikey, here's the deal.
So you got to
always go right to the map.
Yeah.
And that's on our YouTube channel as well. We have a weekly report.
When you guys share some spots, you know, because you want people to catch fish. I mean, in the end, we're all anglers. You know, we want to have our fun, but at the same time, you guys want.
If they catch fish, they're going to go through baits. They have to come back to buy some more baits. So we want you to catch fish. I mean, you know, well, we want everybody to have fun, dude. That's the main thing.
This is it. So this is lower Headwaters, Egan Lake, and I know there's some ponds in there, and then you run up. So the boat ramp on this, guys, is all the way up there, which makes it seem pretty big. It's decent sized. What's crazy about it is there's so much fishable water, and that's what actually makes it big. Like if it was like Stick Marsh where it was all open, there'd be very limited fishable water, whereas Headwaters, dude, there's so much grass, there's so much stuff in it that the entire lake, every square foot could hold a fish, and that's what's pretty cool about it. And it spreads guys out. You know, you hear about the traffic out there and that, but to be perfectly honest, it's not. Pat just shook his head. It's not that bad, and really from a square footage fishability sense, there's more than enough water for everybody, and there's more than enough bass. I can guarantee you that.
And plenty of parking. You're right. A lot of guys have been. They would call up and they were very nervous about where to park. Oh man, if we get there, are we gonna have a place to park? Well, we've never had a problem where you couldn't park. I think maybe the first couple of days when it opened up, it was a mat. Yeah, and so. But there's never a problem to park, and as a matter of fact, now they just, I think, I'm not 100% sure. I know they were building an overflow parking lot on the other side of the dirt road. I heard that it's done, open, ready to go. I think you could probably park well over 100 trucks out there, trucks and trailers.
So you want to hear the funny part? When I first came to Stick Marsh, or not Stick Marsh, when I first came to Headwaters, I got a Trek mountain bike because I like to ride my bike sometimes. I threw my bike in the back of the truck because the sneaky thing that you can do, and don't go copying me, is you can drop your boat in, drive your truck up to Stick Marsh, get a little exercise and workout, and bike on back and go, you know, chain your bike up to the signpost down there at Headwaters, and then fish all day, and then just bike back and get your trailer. So there's overflow parking at Stick Marsh if you want to get some exercise. All right, so I want to wrap up with probably the most fun part about Headwaters. Baits are fun. Headwaters, and actually, what do we call this area? I guess it's Fish Palm Bay, the Palm Bay area, Fellsmere area. Baits are fun, you know, all that stuff. But what's most fun about this place is the potential. So I want Pat, tell me a little bit maybe about a couple of these images, and I want to know what you've heard the biggest fish that's been caught around here.
So here's the biggest fish right here. And that's 14.5.
14.5.
14.5.
And that's out of a boat. That's when it was open to everybody, not a
February.
kayak.
You see him wearing a jacket. He's a doctor. He's an eye doctor in Boca. I can't remember his name.
14.5.
14.5.
I mean, that's a giant.
Yeah,
dude.
that's a giant. That's a giant. That's amazing. He got him on a spinnerbait in February.
This year.
Yeah, he's a monster. Here's Roland. Roland's been coming a lot. He hangs out here all the time, and he gets a lot of big fish.
Roland was a fan of Kenansville long before anybody knew about that.
Yeah, exactly. And here's Captain Dean Herdman. I mean, he's been putting a beating on a lot of big fish lately. Captain Captain Kenny. We got plenty of Captain Kennys. Here's Captain Kenny. That was a little over 12.
Jeez Louise.
Yep. Here's this one-legged fat guy. That's right around 7.5. Yep. And here's another 12-pounder that Roland had gotten, 12.7. There's the scale. He's got the 12.7 on there. He's really proud of that one.
The potential here, you know, I love fishing Alabama. I love fishing the lakes over in Central Florida that I fish. But in all reality, if you are looking for a place to visit, like you're coming from out of state or even in state, and you want the potential for numbers, fun, and the potential at literally a lifetime fish like that, this is the place you need to be. And you got a variety of places to go. It's not just Headwaters. You got Stick Marsh, you got Kenansville. Miami Garcia does not get enough love. Three Forks, that one's a little tricky to run. Be careful. Message JT if you ever want to run that one. But there's a lot of Blue Cypress. They grow them big. What's really interesting, and JT's talked about it, this water table here is actually the St. Johns River water table. It's not like your classic Kissimmee River deal. So you get a sort of a different breed of fish. And any of you guys who have ever watched, say, the Bassmasters on the St. Johns River or anything like that, you see the mondos that they pull out. The genetics in some of these St. Johns River fish have the potential of going 14, 15, 16, like crazy big, and even Florida state record big. I think more so even than the fish, the strain or the genetics that are in the Kissimmee River. But if you want a great place to take a shot at numbers and a trophy, this is where you need to be. Drop in at Fellsmere, hit Pat up, talk to his wife, grab a beer, and have some fun, because it's a lot of fun to fish here. But make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys got any questions about the bait shop or anything, hit these guys up. They want to talk to you. I'll put a link to their Facebook and the shop down in the description box so you can check them out. But Tightlines, we will catch up with you next time, maybe on the water, or maybe we'll find another bait shop to walk through. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you, brother.